For the three of you, what keeps you engaged? What are the tips to, I guess, just keep you going each day? How do you find new inspiration in your jobs at these different parts in your careers? So maybe we'll start off with Clara. Clara, if you want to kick us off, I'm just curious from your side, as somebody that's at the mid-level stage of your career, how do you stay engaged in what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, and you know, for me, I think I've had a pretty non-linear career path into advertising. So working across a lot of different industries, from financial services to consulting, I think has given me a little bit of context of what it's like, you know, when the grass on the other side of the fence. And I think a key part is getting involved in the community, like, you know, like what we're doing now, meeting and talking to new people outside of your company, within your company, outside of your, you know, even outside of your department. I think it's really key to surround yourself with people who might motivate or give you inspiration in ways that you wouldn't think of, you know, both from, and for me being in that mid-career level, I think I have a lot of access to talk to my peers, people more junior to me, more senior to me. And I think that's really critical for me as I, you know, keep moving forward from a corporate path, is, you know, having those small conversations, getting coffee, and even in the virtual setting, just, you know, reaching out. Like I met Natalie a couple weeks ago, and we were brought together, you know, under a common interest of thinking about, you know, that Asian American voice. So I think that's really critical, is just being mindful of how you feel from a day-to-day standpoint, but being able to create time to open and create moments where you're connecting with others outside of your day-to-day.
Great advice. Jennifer, I would like to throw it over to you now. You're at a senior vice president level. I kind of want to dig in a little bit more too on not just staying engaged at this point in your career, but maybe you could talk to the audience a little bit more about how you got into advertising, and throughout the different stages as you've gotten deeper into your career, how have you stayed engaged all throughout that time? Because I would have maybe gotten burnt out by now. I would have decided maybe switch to a different career path. How have you stuck with it for the time that you have to get to this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting in that my arrival into advertising was sort of a happy accident. Like a lot of Asians, I sort of was really, really good at math, but I happened to be passionate about writing also. And I was sort of leading towards that. But then Young and Rubicam at the time sort of came to our campus and was recruiting. They had, you know, we sort of solicited resumes, and they asked for people for interviews. And interestingly for me, I was also encouraged and recruited by the FBI at the same time. So literally there was Young and Rubicam and like 2 doors down, the FBI. And I think it was because of that biracial background. I happen to speak German. I spoke a little Hakka. So, but I didn't pursue that for very long. So obviously the media planning part of it was like the analytics. And then I think being part of a big ad agency certainly helps me with that creative outlet that I was craving. And I think you get to be a part of, you know, something bigger than just, you know, looking at numbers all day. But the motivation part, you know, it's really in a way been super easy for me, because I started in advertising and media. It was sort of super simple. It was TV, radio, out of home, and print. Now you fast forward to 2020, and it's endless possibilities. Like this wasn't even possible, you know, when I started in the business. So it's really, you know, fascinating the amount of change and the dynamic universe that I'm working in. So that motivation is right there. And then again, I get to work on so many different clients, so many different categories. Natalie and Clara and I think being part of a WPP holding company sort of allows you, you know, I laugh because I look back at, you know, my resume and I think, you know, there was a point I worked on denture cleansers, high-end chocolates, you know, RX, appliances, turkey products. So it's really like an episode of Shark Tank for me every day. And that's motivating in and of itself. And now I have 2 kids and I get to watch how brands market to them, how they engage with brands. So it's all fabulous for me. So the motivation hasn't been something that I have had to dig deep for. VML Y&R really gives us great opportunities to sort of stretch into different areas.